But the main purpose for today's meeting is to reassess what is going on in the course of the party congresses and to play host to a candidate. I wouldn't say, because I don't know whether we'll have other candidates that may want to vie for the position of the national chairman of our great party, the APC. But this is one that has already declared, and he has indicated his willingness to speak to us. And as culture of democracy demands, we just have to listen to him. Then when he comes and talks to us, we can now engage him on matters that are bothering us to see how we can build a solid union that will be able to resist any challenge going forward. So that is by way of introduction, to say that we're just welcoming the retired comrade Adams Oshiomhole, just like Johnson, Babale, Aminu, within us before he comes in. Okay, gentlemen of the press, can you excuse us briefly?
And then you come back.
And then you come back immediately, he comes in. He will talk, and then you excuse us again for an executive session.
They said first I enter now. They can come. They can come. Careful. You came with the great Ogodomigodo. Your Excellency, my favorite. You're right. Thank you, sir.
Of course, because we are represented across states, across zones, fairly represented, and whatever message we discuss here, that is passed here, will filter through the rank and files of the Apc Caucus of the House. But we are happy to receive you. I believe we will save most of the discussion for an executive session that we want to have with you after that, where members can freely bear their minds. So I'd like to invite His Excellency, Comrade Adams Oshiomhole, a candidate for the position of chairmanship of our great party, the APC, to address us, make a few remarks before the cameras. Thereafter, we'll close the session to the press, and then we will discuss the real issues. Thank you very much.
Bottom of my heart for the honor and the privilege of granting me this rare opportunity to meet the All Progressive Caucus members of the House of Representatives under your very able and distinguished leadership. I requested for this audience last week, and I'm grateful that even at very short notice, Mr. Speaker graciously agreed to help to convene this meeting. And to all of you who have found time to be here, and even those who couldn't come for obvious reasons, I am very, very grateful for the honor of allowing me to speak to you. I have come as a member of the APC family, as Mr. Speaker has just reminded us. I had the opportunity to function as a district officer in one of the provinces, well, it's officially called Governor in the state of Edo, and I completed my tenure and handed over on the 12th of November 2016. Thank God I was able to hand over to a successor from my own party. And so APC has continued to provide leadership at the level of the state government in Edo. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. As very senior members of our party, we are all familiar with not only the provisions of our party constitution and that of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, in which we are obliged, once in every 4 years, to convey conventions, among other things, to deal with issues of electing a leadership. And it is on that basis that I have decided to offer myself to contest, by the special grace of God, with your support, for the office of the National Chairman of the All Progressive Congress. Like I mentioned, sir, last week when I formally declared my intention, I said I am contesting not because there is a leadership vacuum. Obviously, we have a sitting executive whose tenure will expire by sometimes in June. But I'm contesting because, having been an active member of the party, I am convinced that, like any one of us, in modern times, we always can get something, we always can improve on the state of affairs, whether it is technology, it is electronic, it is human organization, leadership, obviously political organization, even much more so. And given the fact that as a political party, we are in a very dynamic environment, the expectations of our people are ever mounting, and the challenge for leadership getting more and more complex. And I believe that in moments like this, whoever thinks he can add value to strengthening the All Progressive Congress, to make it a much more cohesive, much more powerful, grassroots-driven, membership-owned party, that we all should be able to step forward and contribute to this task. At least as things stand today, there is no provision, to the best of my knowledge, for independent candidature, which means our multi-party democracy is founded strictly on the basis that candidates or those seeking election, whether to the legislative or executive branch, can only do so on the platform of a political party. This is not an occasion to go into academics as to what is a political party. Suffice to say that, as things stand, it's almost an open secret that not too many people are impressed with the way in which our party seems to have managed its affairs since we had that historic merger of, I believe, 4.5 or so political parties. the task of building and sustaining a truly cohesive political party that move beyond creative platform for electioneering campaign and for winning and losing election, I believe it remains an open task or work in progress that we all can contribute to in building. I'm convinced that working with leaders of the party, and I believe all of us in this hall, Mr. Speaker, we are all leaders of the party at various levels. I believe working with everyone, we can build a political party that is driven by that is founded on inclusiveness rather than exclusion, and a political party that is open, democratic, and encourages debate and contestation among its members at various levels, because there is no way we can speak to, for example, party supremacy, as people often say. I have had the opportunity or occasion to ask the question, who is the party? When people say party supremacy, okay, who is the party? In my view, I think that is at the heart of the challenge that we face. How to evolve a party machinery in which decision-making processes are open, they are participatory, where contestation is not seen as an offense or disrespect to anyone, whether on account of age or position in the system. One that members can disagree, but also they can agree, and where they disagree, they have the skills and the competence to manage those disagreements in a way that at the end of the day, we can arrive at a decision that we can refer to as a party decision. In my view, it is when we develop the skill and the capacity to do this, and members at the unit level, at the ward level, at the local government level, at the state level, and obviously at the national working committee level, when we make decisions on the basis of participation and allowing every member to contribute, then we can speak of party supremacy, because then decisions are democratically taken. Majority will have their way, minority will have their say, but everybody will have a sense of ownership of the outcome, provided the procedures are right and they are participatory. I also believe that, Mr. Speaker, no matter what we do, and however clean our intentions are, we are bound to have disagreements from time to time. In fact, the best evidence of a democratic party is the fact that people are free to hold divergent views and to forcefully canvass those views. The more democratic a political party is, the more it is prone to eternal contestation and disagreement. Historically, progressive parties are much more prone to eternal contestations than the conservative parties. And so for me, I'm not surprised, and I do not think that contestation and disagreement are necessarily dysfunctional. I think they can only become dysfunctional to the extent that leadership lacks the skill to provide a non-biased platform or leadership style such that after all the disputations, we are able to persuade and negotiate amongst ourselves what should be the final, to arrive at a final decision that everybody can have a sense of ownership of. Just observing what has happened or what is happening in a couple of states over the years, I'm convinced that a lot of these things could have been nipped in the bud if we have a more proactive approach to party administration at all levels. I also believe, as